proud members of the Fan First Sports Network.
It's so funny when he gets going in the comments.
It's so entertaining. I love it. I love it so much.
No, usually when I get going in the comments, you delete them.
I think I've only done that once.
Death, taxes, and Jed blowing a gasket on Twitter. That's
45, 40, 45, 40. He's gonna go. It's time, people. Feel us.
Big Red Junkies.
Day by day, he gets better and better. He gets better and better. If we die, we die.
Man is moving a child in that. Put him in the aisle.
Bring that trophy back to Lincoln.
Welcome into Big Red Junkies. I am BJ. This is Jed. This is Matt, recently out of prison.
not
Got our
prison. You guys are going to make my work call people.
Captain Government Clearance over here.
Stop it.
If you haven't caught us before, we like to fuck around. We like to drink a little bit. We like to talk about Nebraska football. This is the second of our 3-part series we're doing on top 5 lists for spring. We did the offensive show already. If you haven't caught that, it came out earlier this week. This is going to be about defense. We're looking at our top 5 returning players heading into the 2025 season. Guys that we're most excited about, guys that we think are going to be the most impactful. We all kind of took this a little bit differently when we put it together. So Jed's list, from what we understand, is not going to be coherent whatsoever and not going to make any sense.
He just doesn't include the best players.
Kind of like how he left Dylan Raiola off of his offensive list.
Like a
Somehow,
fucking moron.
Jed's not excited about him. He doesn't think he's going to be important.
Yep,
it's all crazy.
Jed's just upset that he's not playing quarterback at South next year.
No, nobody wants that. Holy hell, nobody wants that.
Jed's vying for TJ Latif's spot, I think.
Yes.
But like I said, if you're new here, please like, subscribe, share, follow, tell your friends about our debauchery. We love interacting with our audience. Find us on Twitter, find us on Facebook. Throw it in the comments. Tell us what's going on.
And if you're a dick, be ready.
If you are dick, be ready.
If you are a dick, I said.
You Richards out there, we're coming for you.
Basically, you don't want to fuck with us.
Or no,
or at least
we want you to fuck with us.
No,
It's-
absolutely. Please. It's so funny when he gets going in the
it's
comments.
so entertaining. I love it. I love it so much.
No, usually when I get going in the comments, you delete them.
I think I've only done that once.
Death, taxes, and Jed blowing a gasket on Twitter. That's
Jesus Christ. Back on track. Matt, number 5. Let's go.
I'm getting to start again. Okay,
Yeah, you're starting
that's
again.
cool.
Let's go.
So my list, I went very heavy on the people I think are going to be the most impactful for the team, but I did have one person that I'm incredibly excited about. So my 1 through 4, it's the people who I expect to be the biggest leaders, and then my number 5 is just somebody who I think is going to eat everybody's lunch this year, and that's Vincent Shavers. Vincent Shavers Jr. he especially towards the very end and in the bowl game last year, he was just kind of getting after it, and I hope that continues to excel this year. So he's my number 5.
All right.
BJ, you want to go with? I'm assuming you have him as well.
I'm not telling you what I have.
Okay. So I did this very similar where I'm focused.
I'm looking at his list and I'm
he's
in shock.
He's on,
right
Is that what your face was? Because I thought you were like, wow, Vincent Shavers is on your list?
I told you I was going to get yelled at.
Oh my God. What the fuck is happening over here? Just go ahead. Go off, bud.
You talked about people that you focus on, like leaders on the defense. There are leaders that I left off the list. Yes, BJ, relax. But the tiebreaker was experience. So that's why I had some guys higher than others. I love Vincent Shavers to death, all that stuff. Unfortunately, I do have him not on my list. He would be number 6. My number 5 is Cam Lenhard. I know he had a disappointing season last year, but I'm looking for him to be the guy that we saw his freshman year, be the freshman All-American that he was. I'm kind of just using this because I know Cam Lenhard is watching right now. I'm kind of using this more as motivation for him to, really get back into gear the way he was as a freshman. And he would be a guy that if he could get back to that as a freshman, the sky's the limit on just this defense in general too.
That motivational speech right there.
So I have a question for you on that. Do you think he really had a disappointing last season, or he just didn't take a giant
That's what it was.
second step forward?
No, you're right.
After a huge freshman season.
That is absolutely fair. He did not take the step that we expected after his freshman season.
I think he also got overshadowed quite a bit on that line.
He did, absolutely.
Where he was more of a, holy shit, that's a freshman doing these things because no one else is stepping up and doing it. There were guys stepping up and doing it last year.
I want to see that jump from his freshman season.
Yes.
That's really kind of what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I would. We did a lot of lumping him and Princewell together in the first season. I thought Princewell had a disappointing sophomore
Absolutely
run.
he did.
I thought Cam's was on par, at least for what I expected. I didn't expect a giant
That's
leap
fair.
forward.
That is fair. I used the word disappointment incorrectly, I guess. It's more of what I expected him coming off of that freshman season.
That's fair.
And yes, he had to compete with some guys. Obviously, those two bigger guys in the middle. But he ending the season with 16 tackles just feels low to me.
Yeah,
from a guy who we expect to be our main guy.
He was more of a space filler. He was not the flash guy last year. He flew massively under the radar and got to move around a lot and got utilized in different ways. Whereas in his freshman season, last year he had a more defined role. And his role was to eat space.
But now, not having James Williams, MJ Sherman, and Jamari Butler, to take up those positions ahead of him, now it has to be him.
Yes,
he's
absolutely.
the guy. That's why I'm looking at him at number 5.
Absolutely, I'm not talking about him yet because he is higher on my list than number 5.
He. If you want to know where he was on mine, he would have been number 6. So
okay,
he's up there.
He's not on your list?
No, he's not on my list.
This is getting confusing as fuck what's happening right now.
It's going to be a fun show, guys.
By the way, also give us your list on the YouTube comments.
Please throw them in the comments. We actually forgot to say that on the offensive show, but we'd love to hear what your list is. Hopefully it's not as psychotic as these guys. My number 5 is actually Keona Davis. I think that I was very upset about the potential of losing him. If you remember when he jumped into the transfer portal, everybody thought he was gone. He 100,000% would have been going to an SEC or a Big Ten school.
Mm-hmm.
He is an enormous human being. He is going
athletic
he's athletic as fuck. Remember, he is a true sophomore. He walked on campus last year. If anybody remembers the big open practice that they had, that I know Jed went to, but they had it in mid-August. And everybody came away from that talking about him. Who the fuck is this freshman that came out here looking like a 35-year-old NFL player?
I had to look at my little roster sheet many times, being like, "Wait, who the fuck is that again?"
Yeah. That's a man that, with the proper motivation and the proper coaching, is going to be making mad money in the NFL. There's a man who he compares to, in my opinion, down playing with the Kansas City Chiefs right now. Jones. Yeah. He's a very similar body type, almost the exact same size if you look him up.
Well, wasn't it Terrence Knighton that said by the time Keona Davis leaves here, he's going to be the next Ndamukong Suh?
He absolutely did.
Yeah.
He absolutely said that. And then when Tony White was asked about it, he said, "Yeah, I know that sounds crazy, but it's not."
Yeah.
So the fact that he didn't follow them to Florida State and the fact that he had many suitors and we got him back was humongous. I think he's going to be, if nothing else this year, he's going to be a man with his hair on fire, and he's going to get a lot of opportunity because we need guys to step up in that room. That's why he's my number 5.
I had like 12 guys on my initial list, and honest to God, I can make an argument to put all 12 guys on my list.
Sure.
So Keona Davis was definitely on the list. He did not make my top 5, but he was very close. But the thing is, there was like 5 guys that were very close, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I get that, man.
I think the only reason he wasn't on mine is because he's so young still.
Yeah.
Who's your number 4 there, guy?
My number 4 is one guy that I expect to be a big leader, but not to necessarily put up as many stats. Marquise Buford Jr. Like he's going to be one of the guys out there telling everybody where they need to be and what the fuck to do.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't put up the numbers that a couple of the other guys on my list do. So that's why he's so low, but I think he's going to be very important on the defense this year.
I'm going to be honest with you. Just step in.
No,
do you have him on your
You
list?
just missed.
Okay. I personally think that if you're looking at Buford and you're looking at Malcolm Hartzog, 2 guys that are returning that are going to be, that showed very obviously last year that when they got their play at corner, were not really cut out to be corners, they're safeties. There's not enough spots for them to
'Cause then
both
you had
be on the
Deshaun
field.
Singleton in that.
Yeah, you have Singleton coming back, who played safety all season last year.
Who shouldn't be on the field, in my opinion.
I completely disagree.
I think both Buford and Hartzog played better than he did
Of
at
the
safety.
three players, Singleton by far and away has the highest ceiling and the most shot at getting a look at the NFL.
Well, statistically, he doesn't.
Absolutely, he does.
Okay.
Absolutely, he does. Especially when you look at a body type. I personally think Buford's going to lose a starting spot if Hartzog stays on the field, or it's going to be Hartzog, one or the other. That's why he's not on my list. Do you have anything else with him? I think he's a great leader. I just don't think he has the talent to play at Nebraska anymore.
Well, I think when you think about how much there were issues with people, especially in the secondary on the defense, not understanding what was going on last year, halfway, 3/4 of the way through the season,
A lot of that was him, though.
you need to have good leaders out there.
Yeah, he was in the wrong coverage a lot, though. Like that's the only thing I'm saying about that. Like when they talked, like when Ty talked a couple different times about guys that were out of position or decided to play a different coverage than what was called, he was part of that problem. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
My number 4 is Javin Wright. I know that there are other linebackers, including Shavers, that people are love McGahee as well, and I completely agree with all of that. But I'm going with the leadership aspect. He's the senior leader, hoping that he finally has an entire season that is healthy. I think if he does, then he's going to absolutely flourish in this defense. Kind of an emotional pick just because he's kind of one of those guys that he hasn't really had injuries as far as torn ACLs. It's more of a health thing than anything else. So it's kind of more of an emotional thing that I just really want him to have one final completely healthy season and just ball his ass off.
And if he does, he will ball his ass
Yes.
off. When he's in the game, he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's just not, it's
So,
when he can't get in the
as
game.
far
that's
as,
the problem.
again, McGahee, Shavers, Wright are kind of tied with me. I gave it to Wright as a tiebreaker of kind of an emotional pick.
I'm going to wait to say anything more about him because he is on my list.
He's on my list too. So
My next guy is Elijah Judy, actually. I'm kind of just working my way through the defensive line because
he's another one
that's-
that just missed the cut on
And that's
mine.
your number 4?
that's my number 4,
Okay.
yeah. I think Elijah Judy has what it takes to be the leader from an emotional standpoint, from an age standpoint, from a
Well, yeah, he's not getting any older.
raw standpoint. I don't know if he's got it physically or not. He's slightly undersized to be playing on the inside.
He's over 300 now.
I know he's over 300, but he's also short.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the same body type that the rest of them do, that the Van Poppels do, the Keona Davis. Those guys, like Keona Davis, really, he's slotted to probably play more outside, more of the Ty Robinson style, but he could absolutely eat up the middle too. Elijah Judy, that's where he's going to play. I hope that he gets the opportunity. I personally think Van Poppel's probably going to be the starting nose tackle in a 3-down set.
Maybe not at first, but I think he gets there by the end of the year. I agree with you there.
See, I think it will be at first either way, but one way or the other, Elijah Judy, I think he's going to be immensely important just simply because of the leadership role that he's going to play on that defensive line. I think he's going to be kind of, him and Cam Lenhart are kind of going to be the guys on that defensive line that are going to take that leadership spot.
I'm going to go first as the number 3 spot because I have Elijah Judy at number 3.
Okay.
To me, he's kind of like what we talked about a couple of years ago with Ty Robinson and Nash Hutmaker, where we need them to be the guys that they were supposed to be when they came in. Elijah Judy was a high 4-star recruit at Texas A&M, transferred out. We need him to not only be the guy that he was recruited for initially at Texas A&M, but also he needs to be the replacement that we need really badly.
Massively.
So it's a majorly important situation for Elijah Judy. That's why I got him right in the middle at number 3.
He could be Hutmaker 2.0.
Yeah.
He should be. We need him to be Hutmaker 2.0.
He has the ability to. It's just whether or not he actually gets in
Like I
there and
said,
does it.
that's why
His
just
stats
like-
have always been lacking compared to what we always think they should be.
Yeah, that's why, like I said, he needs to be the guy like we talked about with Robinson and Hutmaker a couple of years ago. He needs to be that guy.
100%. Matt, who you got at 3?
For my number 3, it's Sayer Wright. Not because I think he's going to be an amazing leader, but because he's going to be guarding whoever is the number 1 receiver on the other team the whole year. And he's got to be locked down or we're going to get beat off our asses on the outside. So he's a real key player for me. BJ?
You're number 3.
I'm not going to say anything about Sierra Wright at this moment.
Well, that's fine. That's why I asked about your number 3.
Because I have Vincent Shavers at number 3,
Okay.
actually.
See, he originally
By
started
the way,
on my list
I
way up
didn't
there
say anything
too.
about Sierra Wright for a reason too. But go ahead.
There's a very, very great problem that we're going to have this year in the linebacker room in general, and I'm including the Jacks in that because there's a lot of bodies. There's a lot of really good experience,
Including some new bodies coming in.
Some new bodies. The guy out of Georgia Southern that's coming in.
Yep.
The
Marcus Watson Trent.
Marcus Washington Trent. Yeah. Desan McCullough is going to be more of that Jack, that outside linebacker spot. He's going to be more of like the MJ Sherman type, but he is bigger, scarier,
Plus 2 inches.
longer, faster.
Yeah.
I put out a tweet on our Twitter page, basically talking about how if you're looking for the ideal candidate to cast for a bad guy in like a Marvel movie or something with the voice, the look, everything, like that's him. He seems like a dude with like that calm guy in the corner with bad intentions.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking excited about him. I'm getting ahead of myself
Yep,
because that's the next
the
show.
newcomer show.
But of the guys that I think have the ability to rise to the top that are kind of already in the bad guy role, Vincent Shavers is that dude. And I think he made a massive tackle down near the goal line, positive goal line, in the bowl game where he stepped off his tackle and made this almost Ray Lewis like stomp in the end zone. And there's this iconic picture that I think is going to go down like iconically in his career is the moment he arrived on the scene for Nebraska. This dude's going to turn himself into the next Levante David. And I think it all starts this year. I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. It's fucking cool as shit that he's a true sophomore coming in and he's going to absolutely wreck shop.
Yeah. Again, bring up Shavers. Papa Shavers, if you're watching, I apologize for not putting him on the list. He's literally number 6.
He didn't put Dylan Ryle on the list. Just
That
tell
was
him
a
that
different
this is-
reason.
No, you just stop.
Yeah,
Just
Shavers
stop.
Senior right now.
Stop.
It killed me not having Shavers on the list, but
That
it
button
what
is
it
way
is.
too long.
Far too long.
That's why I just kept talking.
But I don't know how you left him off the list. I think he's gonna
get it.
turn into a massively
He's one of those
important
players that I'm
person.
just excited about.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree that Javin Wright is going to be wildly important if he stays healthy the entire season, and I would be extremely excited to watch him because he'll push Shavers to be the starter.
Mm-hmm.
He absolutely will. I love John Bullock. I think he did a great job last year for us. I think that we have 2 NFL caliber guys that are going to fight for that interior middle linebacker
Also, let's
spot.
not forget Willis McGahee. I mean, like, I think
I think
he's
he's going to
too.
play outside a little bit more.
I'm just talking about the linebacker position. In
Yeah,
the
in general,
sense.
yes.
Yeah.
I like to specifically talk about the middle linebacker spot because I look at them as kind of the captain, the heart and soul of the
Yep.
defense. You need an intelligent, high-level player there. I think we have multiple dudes that can do that. I think John Bullock did a great job for us last year. I think the level just ratcheted up even higher this year. It's going to be so exciting.
I agree. I'll go to my number 2 first because that's when I can finally start talking about Sierra Wright.
There you go.
I've got Sierra Wright at number 2.
I also have Sierra Wright at number 2.
Everything that Matt said, exactly all of that stuff. But I kind of also had to have him as either 1 or 2 because he's the top returning starter according to Pro Football Focus grades. So it's like, well, if you're number 1 in the returning starters on defense, I kind of have to have him in my top 5 at minimum, and I kind of have to have him 1 or 2.
The one logical thing Jed did on this list. I'm just kidding.
So yeah, I got Sierra Wright at number 2.
I think Sierra Wright is it was 1A, 1B
He's
for
our
me.
best defensive back.
He's 1B. I think when it comes to proven player coming back this year, he's our best defensive player.
Yeah.
He was a guy that we didn't know what we were getting. We got him last minute last year. He didn't have a chance to go through a full offseason and program with us. He didn't have a chance to really ingratiate himself with the team or do any of that stuff. And then he was thrust into action by a coach who didn't even really know him because, by his own admission, he focused on the starters when he came in, barely knew the guy's name when he had to go to him because we had injuries. He more than outplayed what he was expected. He's a dude that had super, super high end coming out of high school to USC. Took his acting career to a different level. He was in Space Jam, blah, blah, whatever. That's cool. He's clearly focused up now. And that dude's got NFL written all over him. It's going to be a great fucking year for Sierra Ryan.
What else do you have to say about him? Anything?
It was basically everything that you said when you talked about him in number 3. So
we're just piggybacking you, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, well, I like to be first. I get it.
so you're number 2?
My number 2 is the leading interception guy from last year, Malcolm Hartzog Jr. I know BJ likes to kind of harp on him a little bit. That's fine. He can be wrong. He was wrong a lot last year.
He's a little too Hartzog on him.
Oh, shit. Jesus.
Oh, that was a stretch.
Between him and Buford, he's higher on my list because he has the better stats. I think they're both going to be good leaders this year. He's the guy who, if it was completely by accident, was in the right place more often last year.
Absolutely.
And he
completely by accident.
BJ got like 20% of the questions right last year. So I just
here's my only thing.
He's my number 2 because I think he's going to be a great leader. Not the best leader on the team. That's my number 1.
I love the heart that Hartzog plays with. I think that guy's got a great nose for the ball. I think that he should be being looked at as seriously as a returner on special teams because the guy had like 27 returns for touchdown in his high school career, some shit like that. It's crazy. We never used him for that. I don't think he belongs in the field in coverage because he got beat so badly, so much more than he actually made positive plays last year.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, he was.
But he did lead the team in interception.
He was on my initial list, but he didn't. He wasn't really that close.
Yeah,
whatever.
Number 1.
Number 1, Matt. Back to back.
Number 1 is Javin Wright. He's going to be in the middle of the defense. He's got all of the experience you could possibly ask for, and he's going to be the number 1 leader on the defense this coming year.
If he can stay on the field, I 100% agree.
Out of necessity, he is number 1 because he will be the captain.
Okay.
If he can practice, he'll be the captain.
Yes.
He couldn't practice at all last year. That was his biggest thing. He's got the blood clot issue, and that
you guys talked about dreams. That's my dream.
That's absolutely a dream.
He's got the fucking brains for it. If he's out there, he's going to do phenomenal.
He's got the pedigree. He's got the body. He's got everything to be an NFL player. If he can actually stay healthy and they find a workaround for him.
My number 1 is Riley Van Poppel. He redshirted for a reason to be the guy as many years as possible. That's why he redshirted. He needs to be the reason why some people said wasted a year on him, as far as wasted a season on him not playing. I think he's got to be the leader on that defensive line, the way like Ty Robinson was.
He definitely has the skills to be.
Yeah.
He's fucking terrifying out there when he wants to be.
Yeah.
BJ?
Yep.
Who's your number 1?
Riley Van Poppel is my number 1. RVP is my number 1. I think that there were times last year, and you guys know how much I love Hutmaker. There were times last year that I think if Van Poppel was actually playing on a weekly basis and starting with the ones, that he might have overtaken Hutmaker by the end of the season. Not because Hutmaker wasn't playing great or he didn't have the ability. Van Poppel's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster. He just has, it's this kind of the same types of things that I was talking about with Keona Davis. The guy is just built perfectly to play football.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's built different.
Which is weird because his dad was a baseball pitcher.
Yeah, weird.
It's kind of like Raiola being a quarterback and his dad being a fucking superstar center.
Yeah.
But Van Poppel is going to be like, that's also why what I was saying about Elijah Judy, we're going to use all those guys up there. We have to have them. We have to have bodies on the defensive line. The defensive line is the biggest question mark, but also the biggest, I think it has the highest ceiling because these guys have been sitting behind 2 dudes that by all accounts should be playing in the NFL, especially Ty Robinson is definitely going to be there. Hutmaker is probably going to get at least a practice squad shot.
Yeah.
And it sounded like he did well today during his pro day. But I think when you look at Van Poppel, he just has more tools in his tool belt than what Elijah Judy does. And that's saying something because Elijah Judy, like you pointed out at Texas A&M, was an enormous recruit. He was one of the dudes like that first transfer class of Rule coming in. I was massively excited about Elijah Judy. I also thought we were getting their D-line coach as the defensive coordinator. He's going to be massively intense there, but I had to put a second person at number 1. That's why I thought it was crazy you had Cam Lenhart as low as you did and didn't have him on your list.
He was on my list. He was number 5.
Oh, that's right. I think Cam Lenhart is.
Hold up. You didn't have a list of 5?
Well, I technically had a list of 6. Yeah.
You fucking cheater. You're talking about us having a weird ass list. You can't even count to 5 right, bro.
I had to put Cam Lenhart.
Who's number
right up
one?
there at number
Who's
one.
number one?
It's Cam Lenhart rather than Popple.
Who's number 1?
They're going to be
number
the
one?
2 most important players
Oh
on the
my
defensive
God.
line. That's the way I'm playing it.
All right.
I agree with you in that aspect, but
Cam Lenhart is a grown man. He showed that in his freshman season. I think he did just fine in his second season, but he was overshadowed. I think he's going to get an opportunity to be everything that Jamari Butler was and more.
Mm-hmm.
And he has as much talent and athleticism and all those things as what Jamari Butler did. That's why I was not that massively upset when Butler left. I thought we needed to clean house on the upperclassmen guys because these dudes, it's Van Poppel and Cameron Lenhart's time to take over.
100%.
It's ready for them to go. What's your guys' list? Tell us what it is. Tell us how stupid we sound for ours or how genius Matt sounds, apparently.
Count to 5, guys. Count to 5.
Also, since you have 6 on your top 5, I cannot no longer get yelled at for not having Shavers. So in
This
that
is just
aspect,
fucking.
Shavers is my also number 2.
Yeah.
That way I
there
can't
you
get
go.
yelled at.
Okay.
I'm sticking with 5 because I fucking went to kindergarten. Like, subscribe, follow, do what pussies you won't. See you next time.
And this may be the most unbelievable night in Cornhusker football history.